Hi, today I'm going to show you how to use Pear Deck, which is an add-on for Google Slides. So the first thing you would do would be to create a Google Slide deck with everything you wanted to teach your students in that lesson. And then if you go to add-ons, you can add Pear Deck as an add-on. If you use you would sign in with Google and then use your APS email to sign in, and Pear Deck is free as an add-on. Once you've signed up for it, then when you push add-ons, it will be right here as an add-on for you to use. When you get this add-on menu, there's a number of things you can do. You can add audio directly onto slides from here. You can create a feature that allows students to type text onto your slides, a polling option where they're given multiple choice options, a feature where they can type numbers, a feature where a website gets embedded so they can use the website while you're presenting your slides. There's a drawing feature where they can use text, but they can also draw with their fingers or a stylus or the mouse. They can highlight. And there's a draggable feature where they can drag icons. There's circle icons, and then there's all different shapes and numbers that can be draggable. Once you have set up your slides with these different tools, you would push Start Lesson. You can do instructor paste, which means it would push out to students and students would be working on their own. That's student paste, sorry. Or instructor paste, which would be on Zoom or Google Meets and would be a live lesson. Students are then given this code to log in. You can have them minimize Zoom or Google Meets and open a new window and type joinpd.com and then type in the code. Or you can, if you go into settings in Pear Deck, you can link Pear Deck to your Google Classroom. So you could just push invite class and it'll send a link directly to their Google Classroom. You can also click give students a link if you needed the link to be pushed out somewhere else. This takes a little bit of practice, kids minimizing Zoom or Google Meets and then opening a new window. But my youngest group was second graders and they were able to do it just with us practicing it. So once you have students connected, so right now I have 2 students connected, I would start my class. And then it's just like presenting any other Google slide. Also, if I had a link typed into my Google Slides, even though I'm in presentation mode, the kids could still click that link to go to an external resource. So I'm going to try to show you this from the kids' point of view. Okay, so when they sign into Pear Deck, it first asks them, how are you feeling today? If you don't want this menu on there, you can have it taken off, but it was sort of a nice checkpoint with the kids because then as the instructor, you can see how they were feeling. Okay, so the first tool is an example of the website tool where a website has been embedded. I embedded Flipgrid into this website. So on the left is what I had written on my Google slide, and on the right is the website that's been embedded. So as I'm presenting, kids can get on and work with that website and not have to go to a whole new window. So this is Flipgrid. There's also, this is another example of a website. So if you have any text or story in PDF format, you can go to Flip HTML and convert that PDF to a flip book. So then kids, while you were reading a story in class, would be able to read along and see the pictures. It makes it a little bit easier to see, and this can zoom, than the teacher holding up a book on Zoom. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, this feature is the writing tool. So they can push T for text and type if they prefer to type. But if they have a stylus or even their finger, if they're using a touch screen or an iPad, they can also write right on this screen. So an example of a math problem, and they can make this smaller. And it takes some practice. So that's the drawing tool. This is another example of the drawing tool. So they can also, on top of writing, they can also highlight. So who is the author of this poem? And they can pick a color and highlight whatever they want to on that text. One of my most favorite things on Pear Deck is that it has immersive reader. So all the way down here at the bottom is an immersive reader icon. In order to get that to appear on your Pear Deck, you have to go into Pear Deck settings and enable it. But it's down here at the bottom. Students can click on that, and then the text will be brought into an immersive reader, which has a number of different features that they can do. They can make the text size bigger if they wanted it bigger. They can increase the spacing. It's already increased in this case, but decrease or increase the spacing of the words. They can change the font into 3 different fonts. They can change the background color of the font. If they click on this middle one, they can change the words into syllables. So if I wanted stopping in syllables, I would click on stopping. I can also do the whole document in syllables. They can click, like if they wanted to know what the nouns were in this passage, they could click nouns and it'll color code the different parts of speech for them. On this last book feature, there's a line focus, so they can do a single line reading or a little bit wider. They can also do a picture dictionary. Sorry. So let's say the word snowy, they didn't know what that was or couldn't read it. It can be read to them. Snowy. And then it gives them an image of what that word means. And then they can also have this translated for them into a number of different languages. which is very, very, very helpful. And then lastly, they can have the passage read to them.
Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost, whose woods these.
And they can change the speed of the voice and change it from male to female. And then when they're ready, they would click this arrow up here just to go back to the Pear Deck. The next tool is a typing feature. So they could type, what's one poetic device you found in the poem? They could type their answer. Sorry. The next feature is the draggable feature. So there's different things you can drag. There's different shapes and different numbers. There are no words or letters, but there's color coding, so you could pick any number of colors for the draggables. You can only set up 5 draggable pieces, though. That's the only shortfall I found. But you could do a number of different games this way. We've played bingo, we've played snakes and ladders, we've played which would you rather, just as an icebreaker. So this is an example of bingo, where there's 2 choices for each question I say, so the kids could play bingo. For example, find an example of alliteration, and then they can drag their game pieces to be able to play bingo. The next is a polling feature. What would you prefer for school in the fall? Go to school but have to stay 6 feet apart, stay at home online. And they just select which option they would want. The next is the numbers feature. So how many phonemes are in this word? St, r, ch. Okay, so then they would type a number. While they're working, I can see what they're doing and type a response. I'll try to show you what that looks like. At the bottom, it says, you have new feedback. It pops up a little message. And then I type to her, great job, and she can mark it as read. So this way you can provide students with feedback if you're in a Zoom meeting without orally embarrassing them in front of everybody. Okay, so now I'm going to show you from the teacher point of view. There's this feature that says show responses. And if I wanted to project this to all of my students, I could hit show responses and it will project everybody's responses. If you go to open over here, these 3 dots, you can open the dashboard in a new window or in a new device. I usually open the dashboard on another device and just have another computer right there so I can monitor what students are doing. When you open the dashboard, it will have students' names attached to these responses, but there are no student names on this because It's just so you could show the class how other people responded without showing their names. This was the school poll. So it'll show an overview of how everybody responded, or it'll also, if I click this grid layout, it'll show how each individual student responded. This was the draggable. If I go to the grid layout, I can see everybody's boards at one time, which is how we're playing bingo. This was the typing tool, so I can see each of their responses. I can see what they highlighted. Only one student did this. This was the drawing tool. I can see what they're drawing and writing as they work if I use this grid layout. For the websites, I can't see the website they're doing, but if I were in the dashboard, there's a little icon over here that says show the website, and then I can open the work they're doing at that point in time. Once you push end the meeting for all students, if you go into your dashboard, there's a section that says sessions. And under sessions, there's something called takeaways. If you push takeaways, a copy will be made of student responses for each individual student. So there will be a copy of each student's individual responses copied into your Google Drive. And you can then push those documents out to students and say, hey, I want you to take a look at how you did X, Y, or Z, and see if you can change your answer, and then students can have more time to work independently. Hope that helps. Bye.